Adjustants, operatives, welcome back. We are doing another story mode of the game. Blossom in Ruins. That's what we're looking for. I haven't done this yet, so obviously I'm not gonna spoil it, even though I don't really spoil some of the stuff, but I might as well do it for... Well, I'm not really spoiling it. I'm going to do it right now, so let's go. It's 7 a.m. Partially cloudy. Visibility is clear. This is Justin Yuchitakujo from Heimdall. We're entering Zone 16 through the southern checkpoint. I'm currently with Enya and Marine. We're on the precipice of the Zone 16 now. Titans' contamination is low, and there are no signs of Titans or change in sight. Over and out. I scanned the surroundings briefly and confirmed that there was no signs of abnormality activity. Then I switched off my terminal and saved the log. When I look up, I noticed Marine staring at me, her cheeks faintly flushed, as if she was lost in thought. Oh, nice. You're using the riptide, that's good. Did I look through the trailer? Wait, I did look through the trailer. It's just censored. I probably don't remember because I didn't do the recording for it. It was really bad, that's why. Marine? Is something on your mind?
いえ、真面目な時の分析員さんはやっぱり素敵だなと思っただけです。
Thank God they brought the voice actresses back. I really like the voiceover for these. It's been a while since I had to make such formal log entries. I don't really need this instrument anymore to detect Titans or Titagens. 2 days earlier, a 12-person military team at the end of the containment zone. 16. The same area we're currently expecting. By the end of it, 11 were missing and only 1 survived. Rescuing by the company. Yeah, I probably misread that. From the survivors' account, we learned that the strange fog covers Zone 16 and there might have been large Titans active in the area. However, recent drone footage shows no signs of fog or Titans. To uncover what happened to the military team, Enya, Marie, and I chose to investigate Zone 16 ourselves. From the very start, there was an airy area surrounding the whole thing. It was clear. This was going to be a tough and thankless job. Fortunately, we had enough prep time before heading into Zone 16 over the couple of days leading up to the mission. I've been running through all possible scenarios and setting up contingencies. Choosing the right operatives for the mission was a key part of that preparation. Enya and Marie were both experienced fighters, able to adapt to surprise in the fields. In city, shrouded in the mystery, their quick thinking would be crucial. I glanced back at the armored vehicle behind me. I glanced back at the armored vehicle behind me. Enya was inside. Just then, as she sensed my gaze, the vehicle hatch suddenly slid open. Moments later, Enya nimbly jumped out of the car.
分析員、マリアンちゃん、お待たせ。
As always, she greeted us with a radiant smile and that warm, soothing voice of hers. The only difference today was the brand new exosuit she was wearing. I heard that she was having troubles with other exosuit and she couldn't keep up with the others. But she was able to overcome it. I think she able to overcome this one. This is pretty interesting. Hold on. Hell yeah, she's really cute. She's really cute. I had to show this.
部下の儀に比べてランプーはより軽めの素材を使っているので
やっと胸周りのきつさから解放されたんです。
It looks great on you.
本当ですか？気に入ってもらえてよかったです。
She took a few steps closer and winked at me. Just as I was about to start a mission briefings, her tender voice drifted easingly into my ear again.
分析員、もしかして見とれちゃってます？
I'm enjoying the soundtrack. This is amazing. I love it. She slipped behind me, leaning in close. The gentle couture of her body pressed against my back. The soft pressure of her chest, a sensation that was hard to ignore.
任務の説明をするときくらいはちゃんと集中してくださいね。
I knew she was doing it on purpose. Fortunately, I was composed enough to withstand this level of temptation. With practiced ease, I shift my attention back to the map in my hands. As planned, we started to investigate the precipice of the city. The military team spent 4 hours here. I expected we'll wrap it up in 2. Though they didn't find anything unusual on the precipices, we couldn't take any chances. It's best if we retrace their steps.
ちゃんと訓練を積んでいて、装備も万全で、それに封鎖エリアでの戦闘経験をたくさん持っている小隊なのに、12人で生き残ったのはわずか1人だなんて。しかもその唯一の生存者もひどいトラウマを負って今もカウンセリングを受けていますとか。
確か街に濃霧が広がっていて、しかも大型タイタンの痕跡があったと言っていましたね。
Marie spoke as she scanned the area ahead, her gaze steadily and calm. She's been doing this since she got out of the vehicle.
現状を見る限りエリア16にはタイタンは存在しないようですが。
As much as I like the voice acting, I think this might be a very long recording for this. She has no reason to lie.
ええ、そうですね。
Anya circled around to stand in front of me, smiling warmly as she met my gaze.
だからこうして私たちが来ているわけですものね。
I gave a slight nod and gazed into the distance. Let's go. For now, at least, we don't need to be on the edge. Just like the military soldiers' account, the precipices of the Zone 16 were eerie quiet. In this desert city, only a faint trace of Titan's residue remained. There were even birds occasionally flying by. For 2 manifestations, this environment should be much safer than the containment zone. And, of course, safer with me alongside them. At the moment, both Anya and Marie were holding onto my arms, one on each side, eagerly discussing what to make for dinner. I think that's not a conversation we should be having, but I think it is ease the tension.
前菜の冷菜を1品、それからローズラン式シチューにしましょう。
I don't know what type of soup that is, but okay.
それならお姉さんはスイーツを担当しましょうか。この前のクッキー気に入ってくれていたようですし。
I like the soft ones. I don't like the crunchy ones. It needs to have that soft texture to make it taste good. You two seems to be on the same page while it comes to food choices. I swear I wasn't thinking of Channel's favorite strawberry fish balls when I made that comment. I just had a laugh just to thinking of that. I was like, oh, flashback, it's Channel. She's not really good at cooking, but she's eager to cook. That's why.
だってどう選んでも今夜のメインディッシュは分析員以外ありませんよ。
Can't argue with that. 2 hours passed quickly as we investigate the outskirts, and we soon found ourselves back at the starting point.
分析員、こちらがルート上のタイタン物質濃度の分析結果です。
Enya handed me the terminal. The graph was steady and smooth, with no major fluctuations, no signs of any significant hydrogen's energy sources nearby. Every day looks perfectly normal. Did I say every day? Everything looks perfectly normal, which in itself is strange. I raised an eyebrow, glancing at Enya and Marine.
ええ、元封鎖エリアなのに外縁部からタイタン物質を全く検出できないなんておかしな話ですね。
まるで誰かが隠蔽したみたいですね。
Looks like we have to head into the main district after all. At that point, we were back to the armored vehicle. I took the wheel. Anya kept watch, jotting down the data of our surroundings as we went, and Marie stood guard with her gun ready.
視界良好。タイタン物質の濃度も許容範囲内。タイタンが出現した様子は一切なし。
With that, she leaned over, casting a quick glance at me.
分析員の様子もいつも通りですね。
I reached out and gave Anya's cheek a playful pinch before turning my attention to Marine, who was focused on the vehicle's navigation screen. She seems to be murmuring quietly to herself. Something wrong with the route?
いえ、なんでもないです。ただなんというか嫌な予感がします。
I had to be careful. There was a time in the last video of the story, I kind of accidentally skipped that part of the dialogue that she was supposed to speak. I couldn't really trace it back anymore, and it's gonna be hard for me to edit that video. So my apologies for that one. So I had to make sure that I didn't hear them speak throughout. It's much more respectful, and also I like to listen to them. I reached out and took her hand. Her fingers looked icy cold, and I could feel a slight dampness on her palm. Marine's instincts were almost always spot on, and like her, I couldn't shake a growing sense of unease myself.
あの不思議な霧、本当に出るのでしょうか。
I shrugged noncomedically. Given the current weather, there is no reason to expect normal fog to roll in anytime soon. I considered another possibility. What if the fog doesn't form gradually, but instead materializes at all at? I think they miswrote that at all, not all at. It sounds weird. Before I could finish, something caught my attention. A blur creeping across the armored vehicle's windshields. Wait. What's the word for the white blur that blocks your vision? Fog? That brief lapse in focus actually cleared my mind. My fingers were already reaching for the vehicle's fog light, but it took me a moment to realize anything was off. My mind recoiled instinctively, resisting what my eyes were showing me. It was that hesitation that made me realize something. It's about time that we met through what Snowbreak Containment Zone really is, because this feels like what it's supposed to be. But there was a lot of shift, I understand, but I'm glad that we're back to where the story's going back to. It wasn't a slow build-up. The fog appeared in the blink of an eye, swallowing us all at once. I turned to Enya and Marine, but neither of them seems to notice anything wrong. They just looked at me with confused expressions.
分析員、どうかしましたか？
I silently pointed ahead. It wasn't until that the both of them grasped in shock.
こんなのおかしい。ずっと窓の外を見ていたのに。
It's not your fault, but something's off. We need to stop immediately. Without hesitation, I smashed my foot on the brakes, slowing the vehicles down. Remember that yellow flaw Remember the yellow fog we saw near the 5th Research Institute? It appears the same way in specific spots without warning.
あのスモッグの正体は確かタイタン物質からなる特殊な情報体でしたね。
Yes. The situation here feels eerie familiar to what we encountered near the 5th Research Institute. But I took a glance at my core system. Neither this precision instrument nor I detected any tytogens in the area.
つまりこれはタイタン物質とは別の情報体なんでしょうか？
It's one possibility I considered. I mean, the survivor's description of the fog, appearing out of the blue, couldn't find a way out, matches the pattern perfectly. I double-checked the vehicle's navigation screen to mark our location, then brought the vehicle to a complete stop. Let's get out and find shelter. Most of the buildings here had their doors wide open. Fortunately, the walls kept at least most of the fog outside. We grabbed our weapons and brought the portable comm stations we prepped earlier. Then we made our way into the deserted shopping mall without any trouble. How's the signal? I turned to look at Enya and Marie, who were busy setting up the comm station. Their expression grinned.
かなり悪いようです。一応送信はしましたが、会社の返事が届くかどうかは。
通信基地局でも無理なら他の通信機はなおさら無理でしょうね。
Looks like we managed to recreate the military team situation precisely. I closed my eyes and leaned my head back. It's not a necessity a bad thing. Let's rest here for a bit and keep an eye out of the outside. The sudden noise jolted my eyes open. Enya and Marie instinctively gripped my arm tight. The same sound came again, but now faster and more urgent.
これは何かを蹴っている音でしょうか？
I nodded, listening closely. The sound seems to be coming from the streets just outside, about 15 meters away from us.
どうしてこんなところに人が？
Let's go check it out. Just like before, I took Enya's hand on my left and Marine's on my right. The three of us cautiously stepped into the fog. The kicking noise continued as we neared, like a sharp, grating drum's beat. Oddly enough, as we got closer, I noticed the fog began to thin. By the time we were only a few meters away, the fog has completely cleared, revealing the source of the noise.
よいしょ！
What the hell? Is that a giraffe mask? Whatever that is. The figure ahead had that back to us, focused entirely on what we're doing, spinning sideways to deliver a fierce kick. This is interesting. Straight at a poor, unexpected vending machine. With another dog, the vending machine took a hard hit. Swaying violently, a can of soda tumbled from the shelf, clanking as it fell into the retrieval slot below. Only then did I notice the ground around the machine, neatly lined with the colorful cans of soda, clearly spoiled on the early kicks. I like this soundtrack. This is really funny. Under normal circumstances, I might have shrugged it off, but though it was just a work of some overactive kid with too much time on their hands. But in this desolated containment zone, where no civilians should be, this scene felt disturbingly out of place. Not to mention, I wasn't sure if the figure in front of us was even human. The three of us stood in stunned silence watching. It was until the figure turned around, 2 cans of soda in hand, that our eyes finally met. No, I didn't think those were really their eyes. Well, is this ever a major plot point? I think it is, because it's kind of like who's the main character. The figure spoke, but their voice didn't come from the head. Rather, it seems to come from somewhere around the neck. Oh, duh.
そこに落ちてるの全部私のだから。欲しいなら自分で自販機から取ってね。
My carefully prepared words vanished in an instant, leaving me utterly speechless.
分析員、ここは。
Anya hesitated, casting a brief glance at me. She seems to be debating whether to draw her gun, but I gave a subtle shake of my head. To our shock, the figure in front of us leaped backwards at the sound of Anya's voice. The cans of soda slipped from their hands, rolling away into the fog, their clinking fading into the distance.
人間だったの？
This time, it wasn't just me. Anya and Maria were also stared in astonishment. I had to be silent for that, not because it's part of the dialogue, but because it's like the JoJo stare, where their eyes start to shade within their face, that you don't see their eyes. That's how I felt. Leaving aside the fact that none of us look particularly non-human. The real question was, why was she so surprised to see humans? It seems like she'll be calmer if she met the three ghosts. Wait a sec.
ちょっと待って。その格好。もしかしてユグドラシルの人？
Hi. I have to speak Japanese for this, just because it makes more comical. Amidst the figure's fragments words and also strange behavior, one sentence finally made sense to me. My mind slowly began to regain its focus.
なるほど。そういうことね。道理で被り物を被ってるのに化け物が見えたわけだ。
As the figure spoke, they placed a hand on their neck, straightening their head above the shoulders. It wasn't until then that I could finally be sure it wasn't some half-human, half-beast creature, or a girl in a bizarre giraffe head mask. But the fact that she was here, in a containment zone with military checkpoints, raised more than a few red flags. Tell us your name, your identity, and why you're here.
私はただの有料市民だよ。
This isn't exactly the place for a casual stroll, miss.
知ってるよ。でもエリア16って軍が管理してるんでしょ？だからユグドラシルがここでつべこべ言う権利はないと思うよ。たとえあなたがかの有名な分析員さんでもね。
Too much fame certainly has its downsides. I haven't even noticed myself, and she already knew exactly who I was. Through the eye holes of her giraffe head mask, I could see her wide, sparkling brown eyes scanning me. I can't argue with that, but it only applies to people who came here by legitimate means. My eyes fixed on her collar, this distinctive emblem on her trench coat stood out, and I recognized it instantly. Back on Yoha Island, I had met a girl named Auntie, whose coat also bore that exact emblem, so I could be absolutely certain that. You're a student from the Academia Acropolis, aren't you? As far as I know, your school doesn't have the permission to enter Zone 16. Surely you don't want your dean to find out about your little unauthorized visit, do you? So, I suggest we share some intel first. After all, collaborating with Yijirsil definitely sounds a lot better than sneaking around. Am I right?
分析員、ちょっと意地悪なんですね。
Anya tilted her head slightly, whispering quickly into my ear. I discreetly scratches the palm of her hand in response. When I look back at the draft girl, the aggressive, confrontational energy she had earlier had already subsided.
その分析員さん。
Uh-oh. Why does this feel like sister leveling? A sweet, syrupy voice suddenly came from beneath her head mask.
きっと何かの誤解だって。私迷い込んだだけなの。霧も化け物も何の話やらさっぱり。だからここはこの私の可愛さに免じて。
Before she could finish, I darted forward and firmly gripped her right hand, which she had hidden behind her back. Just as I suspected, she was holding a small smoke grenade. Huh. Of course, had it been anything worse than a smoke grenade, Marie would likely shot through her arm before I have even had a chance to act. Looks like you're still not fully aware of your place right now.
わかったから私は理事、キリンと人参大好き19歳、162センチ48キロ、赤点取ったことないしタバコもお酒もやってない、アクロポリス学院高等学部の生徒よ。
What was that again? Loved your abs and carrots. Oh, okay. Got it. I had to be sure. Save it. You know what I want to know. Why are you here?
それは卒検の話が絡んでくるから一から説明するとめんどくさいんだよね。とにかく私は半月前からここに入ったんだ。
Half a month. That's much longer than I expected. 2 days ago, a military team passed through here as on their way into the city center. Didn't you see them?
いや、見なかったよ。というか、こんなところで人を見るなんて珍しいからね。
Did she mean it was hard to see through the thick fog? As if sensing my confusion, Lizzie raised her finger, shaking it playfully.
やっぱりこの場所の一番の問題を説明しなきゃね。知ってる？キリンの頸椎は他の哺乳類と一緒で7個なんだけど、なんと成人のキリンの首は 2.4 メートルもあるんだ。
After throwing that random fun fact about giraffes out there, Lizzie paused, staring at me with her arms akimbo. Okay, what's your point?
この言葉自体がミームなんだよ。
ミームですか？
知識、新聞、キャッチコピー、噂、伝播が可能な情報は本当かどうかに関わらずみんなミームだ。
The DNA of the soul. They are our culture, our clout. How about full of shit? Is that a meme?
例えばさっき私の言ったこと本当かどうかもわからないのにもう内容を覚えたでしょ。これからしばらくの間キリンって聞けばさっき私の言ったことを思い出すはず。ミームにはそういう力があるんだ。強い意志もしくは言い切った言葉であればあるほど力強いミームになってあっという間に伝播し 思いもよらないことを引き起こすことだってできるんだよ。
ですが、それがエリア16と何の関係があるんですか？
簡単に言えば、この封鎖エリアの中には大きなミーム集合体が存在している。ひとまずはミームエリア16って呼ぶね。ミームエリア16と本当のエリア16が重なり合って影響し合ってるから変なことが起きちゃうんだ。
So you're saying something in the city don't actually exist as physical entities, but are mimetic ones. Just projections of information planted in our minds.
そうそう、分析員さん筋がいいね。
As soon as Lizzie starts talking about something she knew well, her voice lightened noticeably, almost sounding cheerful.
もしかしてこの霧は？
Genjutsu. I nodded. Enya has clearly made a connection too. The strange fog of the zone. In Zone 16 could only be seen by those within the zone, and therefore couldn't be captured by the patrolling drones. This matches Lizzie's theory perfectly.
でもこんなことができる人なんて本当に存在するのでしょうか？
犯人が誰なのか知らないけど、こんなことをする理由ならわかるよ。ここに存在している何かを隠すために本来存在しないものを作り出したんだと思う。私の説明をただ聞くより自分の目で見てもらった方が良さそうね。
Without warning, she adjusted her head mask, lifting it from her shoulders. Just as I was wondering what the face under the strange draft head looks like, I was taken aback. There was another identical head mask beneath it.
何落胆してるの？早くつけてみて。
With a mischievous grin, she shoved the head mask towards me, trying to force it onto my head. Before I could react, Enya stepped in, snatching it away and shooting Liz a sharp look. Why did that go down? Oh well. I'm thankful it didn't in some way.
リジさん、むやみな行動は控えてください。
Lizzie seemed to take the hint, shrugging and stepping back. Enya turned to me, and I gave a small nod. She then gently placed the head mask onto my head. After a moment of darkness, I felt my way to the observation hole in the head mask. Light slowly filtering in. But what unfolded before my eyes made me question if any of it was even real. The thick fog has the shrouded city vanish in an instant. Once the veil was lifted, everything hidden within the fog became painfully clear. Just a few dozen meters away, a swarm of charged and smaller Taichigens moved steadily, completely indifferent to our presence. Instead of wandering aimlessly, they were advancing in formation towards the city center. In the distance, the city center, several colossal class titans loomed, their immense forms gazing down on the building that seems to be shrinking beneath them, even back into the containment zone. Such a sight was incredibly rare. It's Alf, right? At that moment, my dull senses snapped back into the sharp clarity. The thick scent of Titagens rushed through me all at once, making me furrow my brow. Yet, despite the heavy Titagen's containment, my chorus system remained silent.
エリア16に入った時から私はこういうタイタンをたくさん見たんだ。なのにミームに隠されて外の人に全くバレていないようだ。
Lizzie's voice ragged softly in my ears through the draft head mask.
タイタンが中心エリアに集まっていってあっという間に消えるのを見たんだ。エネルギーが消えていくことすら感じ取れなかったよ。ねえ分析員さん、 これはどういうことだと思う？
Let's put aside what the Titans gathering might mean for now. I signaled to Enya and Marie and they immediately readied their weapons. We have more pressing matters to deal with. After I put on the head mask, I noticed something that Lizzie, who has been able to see through the fog all along, should have noticed long ago.
私はあなたたち覚醒者みたいな鋭い観察力は持ってないからね。まあ、あなたと一緒にいるからそんな力がなくても困らないけど。
With that, Lizzie defiantly slipped behind me, shielding herself with my body. In the next moment, a roar erupted from the dense fog. Dialogue.
「霧が邪魔で狙いにくい」
なのに敵には私たちが見えているようです。まあ、戦いはハンデであった方が燃えますけどね。
あればいいのですが、こんなことは避けたくもがいててください。
Alright, as you can see, even when I use that ultimate move in some way, not really ultimate, but when I use that skill, I am still vulnerable in that state.
あら、誰かの落とし物かしら。慌てんぼうさんね。ここでひとまずお休みしましょう。
He's fun. Just to let you know. Look at that. I have not shot in a bullet at all. Oh, by the way, every time we use the dodge set, part of her clothing kind of moves is removed? I think so.
風が来ますよ。
Yep. Yeah, part of it gets removed. I don't think it's her clothes, it's more like quote unquote cape.
あら、誰かの落とし物かしら。慌てんぼうさんね。二人とも銃口に気をつけて。どうかしました？どうもしないけど、私を敵と見誤らないように。
The point of this dodge is to get them closer. You can shoot them obviously closer. The point of it is you're supposed to use your skill like this.
こんなことは避けたかったんですが。
Oh damn, she revealed herself a lot. Look at how revealing she is. I think Kung Fu Hot Dog would like this game.
あら、誰かの落とし物かしら。慌てんぼうさんね。
Look at so much skin. Look at it. You know what's weird? She's actually much more revealing when she's wearing this when comparing to her
ここでひと
swimwear.
まずお休みしましょう。
I don't have it though. Now let's heal. Let's heal.
痛いの飛んでけ。邪魔させませんから。
Okay, it's not hitting anybody.
こんなことは避けたかったんですが。
Yeah, it's not hitting anybody. That was not the right move.
立ってみて。
that skill. You don't use your E, but you have to use your dodge again. I probably have to do this again. I'm probably wasting a lot of time on this.
あら、誰かの落とし物かしら。ここでひとまずお休みしましょう。
I'll show you more demonstration later, but
カチャカチャ。
enough of playing around for the time being. Quote unquote.
ここからはお任せください。もっと私を見続けてください。
As you can see, I am being timed. I'm almost left unfinished. If I go over the time limit, it means I don't get the 3 starts finish. That's what it was.
敵の様子、何かおかしい。
分析員、何か気づくことはありませんか？あの光の塊を調べるんですか？わかりました。マリアちゃん、こっちから行きましょう。
As you can see, the jump is still not that great. So were we doing this?
そろそろ時間ですね。
I didn't mean to do that. Misclick, guys. Misclick.
風が来ますよ。もがいててください。
Where is it? Over here?
Kacha.
There you go.
風が来ますよ。ここでひとまずお休みしましょう。邪魔させませんから。こんなことはさせたかったんですが。
My apologies if I'm staying quiet. I'm kind of busy focusing. Finishing it quickly.
大丈夫です。これらの意識で動揺することはありません。
Edge of the world. A world with just the two of us. Alright, more dialogue here.
分析員、敵が増え続けています。
After several rounds of gunfire, Enya seems sensed the anomaly. Enya and Marine weren't wearing the draft head mask, so they couldn't see what was happening. They could only fire based on my directions. But I saw it clearly just a moment ago. After one that change has been shot, nearly torn apart by the impact. It was still wriggling on the ground. At the span of few breaths, A body began to heal. Flesh and bone reformed, broken limbs regenerated, and it soon rose to its feet again. It wasn't an isolated incident. Each of these enemies were like that. It's not that more are coming. They just keep reviving. That explains why we were in the same location back, just in some different area.
復活？もしかしてこれらの敵もミームの影響で見た幻覚なのでしょうか。
Faced with enemies that refused to stay dead, Anya and Marie moved closer to me, waiting for my next order. No. I can see them even while wearing Lizzie's giraffe mask. They can't be illusions. As I spoke, I pulled the trigger, taking down the nearest one. In other words, it must be something else that has been affected by the memes. If there was anything special about the enemies compared to those outside Zone 16, it was a strange multicolored glow on their back heads. Enya, change at 12 o'clock, about 5-6. Aim for the head. As I gave the order, Enya raised her gun. 2 shotguns blasts dragged out, pierced the target's head before it fell flat on its back. As it fell clearly, saw a beam of color light come from the distance, enter the changed body. In the blink of eye, a head quickly healed, and the eerie glow returned. Alright, let's push through towards 1 o'clock.
はい。
With Enya and Marine cleared the way ahead, I pull off my giraffe head mask and turn to hand it to Lizzie, who is leaning casually against cover, slipping on her soda. My lips twitch with the amusement at the sight. Squeezing her arm and soda can into her giraffe head mask, raising the soda can from within.
それを外したらまた霧でよく見えなくなるよ。
True, but it's hard to move around with this thing on. I spoke as I walked closer to Lizzie, swiftly grabbing the back of her collar. So for now, you'll have to be our eyes.
ねえ、あなたたちと違って私は撃たれたら。
I didn't mean to scare her, but if I let her keep babbling on, the enemies would close in on us. Without giving her a chance to react, I yanked her from behind, covering while shielding her with my body, pulling us both towards the path ahead. Aside from their ability to revive, these changes weren't anything special. With our combined firepower, we quickly tore a hole through their encirclement. Lizzie, panting behind me, struggling to keep up, but thankfully she kept calling out directions, helping us navigate through the fog. Long before we reached the source of the light, there, before us, was a strange glowing swirling vortex of light hovering within the fog.
これの影響なのでしょうか。
I think so. It's the same color we saw on those enemies' heads. As we approach, we could finally see it more clearly. Swirling light vortex have dozens of fair beams extended from it, each one connecting to one of the chains we had fought.
敵にエネルギーを供給しているようですね。
Marie murmured, glancing at me, silently asking if we should fire at it. Hold off on firing for now. This light vortex doesn't seem to have a physical form. But if it has some kind of energy form, then I can probably.
分析員？
Before I could act, Enya and Marine suddenly grabbed my hands from either side on the same time.
分析員、もしかしてタイタン物質みたいにこの光の塊を吸収しようとしているんですか？
That's the idea.
でももしこれが敵の罠だったら、このまま吸収してしまったら大変なことになります。
同感です。どうしてもそうしないといけないのなら私にさせてください。
You girls. I sighed and scratched my head, then glanced over at Lizzie, who was still catching her breath.
まあ、あれはただのミーム集合体なんだから、そんなことは。
But before she could finish, the friendly stares from Enya and Murray made her immediately swallow the rest of her words.
いや、やっぱりお二人の言う通りだと思うよ。
Somewhat expectedly, I couldn't rely on her for help convincing them. I cleared my throat and turned my attention back to Enya and Marine. I know you're worried about me, but I've done this kind of thing many times before. If anyone should do this, it has to be me. And I'm not going to absorb it all at once. Rather than eliminate it completely, I'm actually curious to find out if I can get some intel about Zone 16 from it, like I do with Titanjin. After giving them my reason, I turned to Enya and Marine, gently taking their hands so they can hold onto my arms. Let me try it first. If anything goes wrong, you can pull me away. With that reassurance, their worry seems to ease. They grip my arm, stepping back, allowing me to face the light vortex. I stretched my hand towards it. My heart raced slightly, concentrating like it would when absorbing Titanjin. Almost immediately, a trickle of energy flowed towards me, like a fish darting through water, slipping into the body through my fingertips. This energy felt distinctively different from Titanjin's. There was no sensation of stifling heaviness. In fact, I could barely feel its presence at all. Even so, I immediately cut off my connection to the light vortex and then began breaking down the small amount of energy that has entered my body. In that instant, the energy converted into information. I heard a faint, distinct cry. If my senses weren't so keen, I probably would have been able to make it out the cry at all. Help? Someone was calling for help? I concentrated, trying to glean more from that voice, but no matter how hard I tried, I couldn't make out anything more. Half a minute later, I opened my eyes and let out a slow breath.
分析どうでしたか？何か不審なところは？
Enya's gaze was full of concern, and I gently patted her hand to reassure her. Everything's fine. I could reach the information containing in the energy. It's like something is crying out for help.
助けを呼んでいる？
It's just a fragment of the message. I'm not entirely sure, but it does sound like a cry for help. One thing I can be sure of is this light vortex isn't made of Titanjins. The energy it contains is much weaker.
もちろんさ、ただのミームだからね。
After watching me absorb the energy from the light vortex, Lizzie seems more intrigued by what was going on. Well, according to your theory, the memes should carry a lot more information. Yet I didn't get anything useful from the light vortex.
それは。
Lizzie tilted her head and circled around me, as if studying me, but failed to notice anything unusual. Having gotten used to her pattern being reliable 1 minute and scattered brain the next, I simply shrugged. Just as I was about to continue investigating the light vortex, Marie suddenly raised her gun and aimed behind us.
分析員さん、敵が追ってきました。
He was right. Even with the thick fog obstructing my view, I could hear the sound of chaotic footsteps drawing near. Nearer.
あーちゃー、さっきより多いみたいだね。
分析員、光の塊の安全性がわからない以上、今は一度引き上げた方がいいかなと。
Right. It's not necessary to engage the enemy right now. Just as I was considering retreating, I heard a cry for help again. Just as I was considering retreating. That was so bad. A thought crossed my mind. If we retreat now, I might miss the chance to get important intel. Hold on. I want to try absorbing more energy from the light vortex.
ですが、
円谷さん、ここは分析員さんの判断を信じましょう。
Marie nodded at me, and I turned to look at Enya, giving her hand a gentle squeeze to reassure her. Marie, please buy me some time. As soon as I spoke, Marie raised her gun, ready to defend against any enemies that might emerge from the fog. Enya, I need you to keep an eye out for any that slip through Marie's defenses, and I grabbed her hand tightly again. If anything goes wrong, pull me away as fast as you can.
わかりました。分析員のこと、ちゃんと守ります。
私は
You? Stay safe and don't get hit by any stray bullets. There were enough spots to take cover, and for the eccentric character who has been already managed to survive in Zone 16 for over half a month, staying safe shouldn't be a problem. Ignoring Lizzie's loud yelp as she frantically searched for cover, I turned my attention back to the light and reached out. As my mind focused, the energy flowed into me. No longer a trickle, but a rushing surge, flooding my consciousness. Good. It felt just like before. No change in the energy itself. Even so, I still created a mental barrier with my consciousness, isolating myself from the overwhelming torrent of information. In the physical world, I was rapidly breaking down the relentless energy, watching as the light vortex shrank, disappearing completely in less than a half a minute. At the same time, the roaring of the monsters in the fog suddenly stopped. It seems that without the light vortex channeling energy into the surroundings, the creature has finally fallen. I let out a sigh of relief, turning to look at Enya, who was still holding onto my arms. Enya, we need to...
分析員
Enya's eyes widened in panic as she stared at me. I suddenly realized that the words I had just spewed were nothing more than just jumbled nonsense. In that moment, a familiar scene folded before my eyes, burning cities and whipping... civilians? Yeah, civilians, and towering titans, just as during the first descent of the containment zone elf. I could feel that this was a descent that had snuck Zone 16. It turned out the energy I had absorbed was what you call a Bilson horse. Seamlessly harmless on the outside, but carrying a startling amount of information within. Even more overwhelming, the data stored within a Titagen tree. The scream and cries of thousands of civilians flooded my mind in an instant. Despair and fear hits me so forcefully that I distinctively grasp for it. Thankfully, my earlier precautions kept my mind from completely consumed by the onslaught of emotions. With the fragrance of clarity I still had, I fought to regain control over my body.
分析員、目を覚ましてください。このままじゃ、早く分析員を安全な場所に連れて行かないと。
As I heard Anya's voice calling my name, a surreal feeling washing over me. Her voice, along with her face, seems to flash before me, like images imprinted on film, quickly rolling alongside everything I had happened today. The only way out, I realized, was to hit the pause button on my consciousness. The world around me gradually lost its color, and a mess of splitting headaches. I closed my eyes. When I opened them again, I found myself stranded unharmed. The dizziness and pain vanished in an instant, as though they had never existed. But the land beneath my feet was clearly not Zone 16. Instead, the familiar cityscape, I was surrounded by barren rocks with a cloud of yellow sand in the distance, a sandstorm on its way. For some reason, I found myself standing in front of a log cabin, completely out of place in the middle of this desert. My right hand was raised, as if I was being prepared to knock out of the door. Knock slightly on the door. With a sense of hesitation, I knocked on the door, but no one answered. To my surprise, the door creaked open with a little at my touch. It wasn't locked, just slightly ajar. The odd promotion settled in my mind. Someone was waiting for me inside, and they were the one who brought me here. I wasn't the one to hesitate in the face of danger, so I took a deep breath and pushed the door open. The inside of the cabin was a sharp contrast to the barren desert outside. It was clean, cozy even. On the coffee table at the living room were two steaming hot cups of tea, clearly freshly poured. I was right. Someone was in this house. As soon as I stood there thinking, I suddenly heard footsteps descending from upstairs. I looked up and to my shock I saw Anya? Still stumbled. I barely had time to react before she threw herself in my arms, burying her face in my chest and the familiar scent of her hair filling my senses.
おかえりなさい。あなた。
Oh, okay. She whispered softly in my ear, her tone both gentle and playful. Home. Her words cleared the fog from my mind, and in the instant, I understood why I was here. My head felt heavy, as if I filled with lead, and before I knew it, I fell backward. The warmth against my face cut through my skin and straight to my consciousness, jotting my sluggish mind awake. Instinctively, I reached up to my face, but instead I grabbed a soft hand.
Ara? もう目が覚めました？
It was a familiar voice. Anya.
はい。
She just said one word. I thought she was saying more. She turned her hand over to take mine and began stroking my hair with the other.
ここ最近ひどく疲れているみたいですね。家に着いたらすぐ寝ちゃいましたよ。
How long was I out? I lifted my head slightly, meeting her eyes, which had a mesmerizing, amaryllis gleam. だいたい30分程度でしょうか。
もうオーブンを探してくれるために家を出たっきり全然帰ってこないから心配してましたよ。
Oven. Right. I did leave home to look for one. As her words sank in, a sudden series of thoughts and memories appeared in my mind, filling the blanks leading up to the current situation. When we first arrived, Anya and I worked together to build the small cabin. Piece by piece, over the next 2 years, we salvaged everything we need to make it a home. The books on the table were a collection of poetry with the Kiru poets of the last century, found among the belongings of the refugee who hasn't made it. Every night, Anya would read me a short poem before bed. Most of the furniture came from the ruined town about 25 kilometers away. We buried through all the jeep's fuel to bring it back. As for the electrical appliances, we did manage to find a few, but the solar panels here could barely power the lights. The rest of the appliances has left gathered dust. On the clear nights, we sat on the nearby hillside, gazing at the stars. Without the light or the air pollution, the night sky was always breathtakingly beautiful. Just 2 days ago, Anya had mentioned walking to bake cookies, so I ventured back to the long deserted city, hoping to get lucky and find some kind of oven, but I came back empty-handed. Without a doubt, everything in this cabin was a testament to the life Anya and I had built together. Each piece held a memory of the time we had spent here.
さあ、ひとまず起きて。お昼を用意してきますから。
Anya just gently ruffled my hair and I leaned into her embrace for a moment, nuzzling against her chest. A peaceful warmth and a blissful routine. This was the life we had been dreaming of. I watched her walk into the kitchen, pick vegetables and fruit from the baskets, wash them and cut them into small pieces. There were just one question. Anya. I closed my eyes, gently calling out her name. Anya, busy at the stove, turned and looked at me.
どうかしました？
Can you tell me? What exactly is this place?
ここは私たちの家ですよ。
Her smile remained as sweet as it had always been. I fell silent for a moment, then slowly shook my head. I mean, what is this place that our home exists in?
それは
A safe place, right? I gave the answer before she could respond. She froze for a moment, then slowly nodded in agreement. I knew it. There was no way she could have realized.
このままじゃ早く分析員を安全な場所に連れて行かないと。
All she wanted at that moment was to take me to a safe place. With such a simple wish, and under the influence of the mimetic energy I absorbed, she had evidently created a world out of thin air, a world where everything, and even the memories we shared here, were fabricated. It was literally a world just for the two of us. Everything here, down to the smallest detail, was fabricated by the information planted in my mind by the memes. The only thing that truly existed in the physical world were us. With that realization, leaving this place no longer seems like a challenge, but I looked back at Anya, who was still gazing at me, waiting for my response. A twinkle of hesitation tugged at me. I could distinguish between reality and illusion, so leaving here would not be difficult for me. But for Anya, it would mean asking for her to deny all her memories, even her very existence here. No, that would be cruel to her. There has to be another way. Anya, would you like to go out and take a walk after lunch?
どこに？
Let's Let's head northwest and see what's out there. In my memories of this world, Enya and I had nearly explored every part of this desert, but the northwest was the only direction we had never ventured. Maybe there we would find the edge of this world.
はい。あなたが行きたいというのなら、どこにでもついていきます。
Enya agreed, without hesitation, but I saw a trace of doubt in her eyes, which wasn't unexpected. Subconsciously, she must have known that once we left, the peaceful life we built here would be over. But even so, I had to take her away from here. Not to erase the memories we made, but to create new ones. Better ones. Okay, now we're at this area. Okay, before I start on this, so I made an edit showing that I had a lot of stamina earlier. It uses 0 stamina from the previous ones, which means I had to spend stamina elsewhere. So I came back here and then do this again. So I skipped some of the information, but that's not necessary for you guys to know. This is doing a story mode, so we're doing it here instead.
この車、もう使えそうにないですね。動かす方法があるんですか？わかりました。じゃあ、私も手伝いましょう。さあ、勇気を出して、助けなさい。こんなことを避けたかったんですが。時間ですね。
Let's finish this quick because I need to go do these terminals. Oh fuck.
こんなことを避けたかったんですが。さあ、勇気を出して、そろそろ時間ですね。
I don't know
こ
how
ん
I
なこ
did
とを
that,
避け
but
たかっ
okay.
たんですが。
Sure.
助けなさい。さあ、勇気を出し
I think this is perfect to use the ultimate.
て、あの世でゆっくり懺悔しててください。
There. I was not gonna get. I didn't want to get hit by that. There you go.
もう終わったのですから、一緒に帰りましょう。ここでひとまず本当に動きましたね。すごいです。荒野の奥地へ向かうなら もっとエネルギーを蓄えないと。その前にまずは都合の悪い敵たちのしつけですね。分析員との旅を邪魔されたら困りますから。そろそろ時間ですね。別の解決策があればいいのですが。
My apology if she was doing the dialogue. Like I'm doing. Lazy. I'm not gonna move like this. Although it would be weird just to do something like that. Oh, I hate the camera when it does that. Maybe I shouldn't do it. I'm not sure. What do you guys think? I know that.
Gotcha, gotcha.
Uh-oh. Too far.
ここでひとまずお休みしましょう。
I know I'm far away. However, I have to take out the enemies for you, remember? I think what they could have done is add a turret right on top of the vehicle and let me shoot. I think that was a missed opportunity, but whatever. It's okay, I guess.
さあ、勇気を出して。風が来ますよ。
There's 3 more. Okay. Oh, here. The tunnel. Is it following? Oh. Okay. At least it serves a purpose like that. Yes, I know that. You don't have to tell me. I had to take out the enemies for you, remember?
もう終わったのですから、一緒に帰りましょう。
I am very curious. After Enya, what will be the next operative? A red herring. Okay. Our armored vehicle finally reached the edge of the desert. There was nothing particularly remarkable about this place, just endless yellow sand stretching as far as the eye can see. But Enya and I fell silent. We both knew this was the end of this world. I pressed the gas pedal to the floor, and the armored vehicle sped slightly across the desert, closing in on the edge within a minute. Wait, I was in the vehicle? She was doing all the work for me? That sounds odd. That sounds really odd. I turned slightly, gently covering Enya's eyes with my hands, and closing my own as well.
あなた?
Enya was surprised by my actions. Her voice soft, but curious. Don't worry, it'll be over soon.
別に怖いわけじゃないんですが、ただ。
She grabbed my hand, her voice carrying an odd, almost unexplainable calm.
分析員って不確かなことをするときにいつも目を閉じちゃいますね。でも私はこうしなくてもきっと何か別の方法でここから出られると思います。
What did you... Before I could ask more, the vehicle crossed the boundary and everything around us was suddenly engulfed in a bright light. When I opened my eyes again, we were no longer in the armored vehicle. The familiar sight of crumbling buildings, empty streets, and destroyed cars reappeared before us. Eventually, we had to return to Zone 16. I immediately turned to Enya. Now we were back at the real world. Her memories should have been restored.
さっきのは一体。
As I expected, her eyes widened in disbelief as she looked around. Extended her hands and staring at them for a while. Her expression mirrored mine when I recalled my illusionary memories back in the cabin. Hold her. It's okay. It's all over now. I held her tightly in my embrace, gently patted her back to soothe her. I could feel her trembling form slowly begin to calm down. We had a very long dream. Everything in that dream was fabricated by the memes in Zone 16. Although I suspect that Enya's desperate desire to protect me also played a part in creating the illusion, but I didn't voice this conjuncture.
つまりあの荒野に行ったことも自分たちで小屋を建てたことも全てなかったことですか。全てが私の想像でしたか。
But Enya, your fantasies did save me from danger. I lowered my head, gently cupped her face in my hands. If it weren't for you, the memetic chaos in my mind might have destroyed my consciousness entirely. I don't think they had to put that much emphasis in the mouth on that part. It wasn't really her talking, it was just her sighing. Enya remained silent, clenching her fists. Just as I began to worry, she suddenly raised her hands and began to vigorously rub her own face. It was a surprise, adoring gesture, something Enya, always the mature one, rarely did. I couldn't help but smile at the sight of it.
しっかりして私。分析員を無事に守らなきゃ。
Giving herself a little pep talk, she scanned our surroundings.
タイタン物質の濃度が高くなってきています。多分エリア16の中心部に近づいてきているんでしょうね。
With that, she leaned in and began feeling around my body. What are you looking for?
通信端末。私のはどこかでなくしてしまったようで。
I fished my terminal from my pocket, handing it to her. She swiftly tapped the screen a few times, then shook her head.
やっぱりダメみたいです。ここでも通信がつながりません。一刻も早く周辺に撤退して通信が干渉されない場所からマリアンちゃんたちと連絡を取らないと。今は自責なんてしている場合では。
As she spoke, traces of tears still lingered in her eyes, but it didn't diminish the resolve in her gaze one bit. Right. By holding back to spare Anya's feelings, I had underestimated her. I had always known that Anya Murphy was never one to quit the face of setbacks. I also understood that didn't mean she didn't need someone to take care of her. She had just grown used to hiding her wounds from others, even from herself. Looking at the delicate hand she reached out to me, I immediately took it and pulled her into my arms with even more determination. Let's go, Anya.
はい、分析。
That being said, making our way to the philosophy of the city wasn't going to be easy. The city center was in ruins. In the maze of steel and concrete, we barely find our bearings. At this point, all we could do is take it slow and focus on each step. With that in mind, Anya and I chose a relatively wide road and set off.
分析、一つ気になることがあります。
Is it about the memes in Zone 16?
ええ、分析員も気づいていると思いますが、ここに入ってからずっとミームとやらにもてあそばれてきました。ですが、私たちは今となってもあのミームについて何も知らないと言いますか。
True. Most of what we know about the memes come from Lizzie, and she always gives off this unstable vibe. Speaking of her, I wonder where she is now.
あの子ならエリア16に詳しいようですし、はぐれた時も周りに敵がいなかったから多分無事かと思います。それよりもミームの影響が心配です。このまま進んで軍の正体みたいに方向を見失ってしまったら厄介なことになるのではないかと。だからもっとミームについて知っておきたいと思いました。ミームの影響を打ち消す方法、さらには逆手にとって利用する方法を見つけられたら。
Use the memes. Anya's plan seems even bolder than I have anticipated.
と言っても今はミームについて調べる暇はなさそうですね。
Actually, we do. If we really want to.
ん？
I stopped and pointed out to my head. Some of the memetic energies I absorbed from that light vortex still lingers in my mind.
そんな分析員、どこか具合が悪いとかありますか？
I'm fine. Most of the energy has already been consumed, and what's left is too weak to affect me. And now, I should be able to release it. It was something I had been considering to do for a while. This could be the best shot we have to dig into the memes, but it might also be very risky. After all, we didn't know the possible consequences. The question now is, what could we do with these memes? From the look on Anya's face, she seems to already have an idea.
ただの推測ですが、ミームが情報体であることに間違いがなければ、分析員、意識に残っているミームを改変できないか試してみたらどうですか？
I was thinking the same. You want me to mark them, right?
ええ、その通りです。
In modern biology, when researchers study wild animals, they often capture some, attach some trackers to them, then release them back into their habitat to observe their movements and behavior. What we were planning to do was quite similar. Anya wants me to mark the memes and then release them. Since memes tend to spread on their own, we could track them and follow their path to find a way out of the city. It's a brilliant idea. What kind of information do you think we should mark on them?
それじゃあ、光はどうでしょう？ そしたらミームがはっきり見えるようになって追跡しやすいんじゃないかと思いますので。
Alright. Let's do this. I shut my eyes and focused on the remaining memes in my mind. I imagined a bright light and whispered the word light several times before channeling the memes out of my consciousness. The memetic energies flow smoothly through my fingers, streaming outward once again. The remnants of the memes in my mind were faint. It only took a few seconds for them to dissipate completely. I opened my eyes. To my surprise, nothing seems to have changed. Enya, do you sense anything unusual?
いえ、今のところは特に。
Enya scanned the area, still unexpected, but failed to find any trace of change.
光を加えたから目立つようになったはずですが、なのにどうして？
She looked like she was about to climb onto the nearest rooftop to get a better view. I gently held her shoulders to stop her. A helpless laugh escaping me. It's alright. I wasn't expecting a foolproof plan, so it's absolutely normal that it doesn't work. Let's just look for guideposts or something. It might take a bit of time though. Before I could finish, Enya suddenly tensed up. I followed her gaze. She was staring intently at the street in front of us, but didn't see anything unusual. Then she raised an arm and pointed at the street light on the corner. It was the daytime, yet at some point, when we weren't looking, the street lights had turned on.
分析員、見てください。あの街灯の点滅する頻度は？分析員と一緒に見たあの一番輝いた星と同じです。
Vivid memories surged back to me in an instant. In the desert on the hillside near the cabin, I had pointed out a star to Enya. Again and again on countless nights. Thought I knew it was a fabricated memory in this moment. I could still feel it, just as vividly as before. The star that once illuminated the night now lit the path ahead for us. We exchanged a meaningful glance, then I ran towards the streetlight. After flickering for a while, the street's light glow began to fade, just as another light far off in the distance flickered to life. One by one, the street's light guided our way, lending us forward. As we followed them, the buildings ahead began to look familiar. I don't know why. I think this scene should be a bit cinematic at a certain point. I don't know. This could make more sense to me in my opinion. In the distance, the containment wall of the Zone 16 came into view. We should be able to get through to Marine now.
ええ、やってみましょう。
I pulled out my terminal and called Marine. The connection indicates has spewing rapidly. Enya and I both stared at the holographic screen waiting. About a minute later, the terminal suddenly emitted a sound of connection successful. The comm signal was still weak, but at least we managed to get through. Marina, where are you? Are you hurt? Are you okay? You weren't affected by the memes? The situation has escalated so quickly earlier that I had assumed both Marie and Lizzie was affected, just like I was before. Are you talking, Before I could finish, a frantic cry from Marie suddenly broke through the comms. The city center. She meant Enya and I were in the city center? But we were clearly at the Persephone of the city. There wasn't even a fog here. Wait. Fog? My head suddenly began to race. It wasn't that there was no fog here. It was that we haven't seen any since we left the desert. Anya and I have been so caught up discussing the memes that we haven't even realized we were already under their influence. We were completely forgotten about the fog, which meant we lost our bearings and misjudged where we were. Damn it. I should have seen this coming. We already seen how strange the fog was when we first entered Zone 16.
分析気をつけてください。
That split second, I dropped my guard just as Anya suddenly tackled me to the ground. A moment later, a massive chunk of stone came crashing down where I had been standing. And that was only the beginning. The buildings around us all began to thunder before collapsing, sending debris crashing down like a meteor shower. Over the radio, Maria's voices grew fainter, nearly drowned out by the howling winds. No, Moria, listen to me. Don't come anywhere near this place. I didn't have time to think about whether my words were getting through. I just screamed into the comms with all my might. You need to find the mastermind behind this. Use the process of elimination. Remember, process of elimination. The next moment, I stuffed the terminal back into my pocket and grabbed Anya's outstretched hand. While I was talking with Marie, Anya has activated her exosuit and began shielding me from the relentless barrage of flying debris. We ran frantically through the rubble, but as far as I could see, the entire city has plunged into the apocalyptic nightmare. There was no shelter, nowhere to hide.
分析この攻撃本当にミームに見せられた幻なのでしょうか？
No, I can feel it. There's real energy in them. Looks like our enemy finally is getting serious.
これからはどうすべきでしょうか？
The situation has already spiraled beyond my prediction, but my mind was still racing, trying to piece something together. Over comms, I didn't hear any sounds of debris attacks breaking out on Marie's side, meaning the attacks must be limited in range. If we keep heading in one direction, we should. Just then, I suddenly halted and grabbed Anya, who was stepped behind me. Right in front of us, barely 3 meters away, beyond that bottomless chasm, had we stopped a second later, we could have plunged straight in. But the falling debris gave us no time to stop. A massive boulder hurled towards Anya back, and I had no choice but to turn around and take the hit for her. The rock itself didn't cause much damage, but the energy within it surged into my body on an impact, forcing me backwards, straight into the debris abyss. I had felt Anya's hand tighten across my arm, but it didn't slow the fall. In the blink of an eye, we had tumbled into the bottom of the darkness together. Okay, let's go do this.
Eh, ここは分析員がいない。分析員この辺にいないか。
Okay, I have no idea where to go. Let's just go over here.
分析員どうか無事で。
Okay.
んなことは避けたかったんですが。
Where am I supposed to go? Just defeat them? Okay.
こんなことは避けたかったんですが。タッチのさん、そろそろ時間です。
Okay, so I just had to fight through the waves.
カチャカチャ。
Oh, that guy is stuck?
Kacha, kacha.
Okay, so basically it's just an arena in some way. Okay.
邪魔させませんから。
Where are you? Here you are. Yeah, you don't die from fall damage, Joe. Final wave, alright?
さあ、勇気を出して。大丈夫ですよ。私のことは心配しないで。カチャカチャ。ここでひとまずお休みしましょう。さあ、勇気を出して。あの世でゆっくり懺悔しててください。
I think I wasted a lot of time on this. Because I thought I'm supposed to go to a route or something.
一緒に帰りましょう。
But I'm glad I made it within the time limit. Oh, I can't see that. Okay.
風が来ますよ。こんなことは避けたかったんですが。
I barely hit that.
これらの敵、エリア16に入ってから最初に出会った敵と同じく いくら倒していってもまた立ち上がってしまう。やはりおかしい。周りにあの光の塊がないはずなのに。
カチャカチャ。
大丈夫、私はここにいますよ。風が来ますよ。
I almost went down. Hold on.
そろそろ時間ですね。
Yeah, earlier that was a very small hitbox. Like, I barely hit that.
どうやらこの先は出口みたい。でもまだ分析員が見つかっていない。何か見落としているのかもしれない。もがいててください。風が来ますよ。
Yeah, as you can tell, he's really fun.
さあ、勇気を出して。風が来ますよ。ここでひとまずお休みしましょう。
I think people like this the most. Every time she dodges, more of her cape comes off.
邪魔させませんから。別の解決策があればいいのですが。大丈夫です。これらの意識で動揺することはありません。
Gender fantasy, obsession in the name of protection. Flames. Everywhere. Endless flames. The massive Valkyrie Games venue, once bordering the city center, was now completely engulfed in flame and fire. I stood before it, the searing heat lashing against my face as the wind carried tiny embers, igniting even more of the city. I knew I wasn't really here. I just had fallen into the abyss with Enya, even though my eyes told me I was in a containment zone elf. This couldn't have been reality. Yet it was all too overwhelming. I couldn't just detach myself and observe. Because back in 2057, when the descent devastating the Valkyrie Games venue, it was exactly like this. Back then, I had rushed into the venue, leading the security team to rescue as many civilians as we should, but we were only a fraction of the victims. Countless others perished in the flames. I remember vividly that many civilians still stranded in the center in the venue at the end of the rescue operation. They had already been corrupted by the Titagens. There was no way they could survive. If we had tried to save them, it would have only lead to further Titagens contamination. The decision maker made their choice without hesitation. But for me, for the other rescuers, and for those civilians, that decision changed everything. I closed my eyes amidst the raging flames. I saw last enemy fell. Enya was nearly spent. She slowed her pace, but her gaze remained locked on the path ahead. At the end of the road, a beam of light streamed down through an opening, as if promising a way out.
分析員がいるならきっと 手に入りやすい情報ほど信じてはいけないっていうのでしょう。
As she repeated that thought in her mind, she suddenly turned to look behind her. A blurry figure appeared before Enya. The moment it noticed her gaze, a frozen, standing still like a shadow. Silently, Enya tightened her grip of her gun. At that moment, the figure shuddered slightly. Then faintly, she thought she heard a voice. No, she didn't exactly hear the voice. It was as if the voice appears on the visible screen before Enya's eyes, like subtitles.
私はヘイムダル部隊の隊員エンヤ・マーフィー。ヘイムダル。
The voice fell silent for a long moment, as though trying to process the meaning of the word.
そちらの名前を伺っても。我々はエリア16だ。エリア 16？ エリア16の住民たちでしょうか。いいえ、この集まりでも人間でもない。我々はエリア16の自我だ。
Enya's eyes widened in disbelief.
どうして町なんかに自我が？わからない。誕生した時から我々は飲み込んできた。痛みと苦しみも含めて街中のあらゆる情報を。この前見た光の塊と街に現れた霧、そして他の異変もあなたたちの仕業ですね。あれはこの街の一部。街に入った人間も街の一部になる。
Enya immediately grew wary, but the figure made no further move.
我々は何もしない。我々はこの街を守りたいだけ。
It seems strange.
入ってきた無実の人を閉じ込めて、それがあなたたちのこの街の守り方とでも言うんですか？それはここの苦痛に触れた人間はここを離れれば生きていけなくなるから。
As the figure spoke, a light vortex slowly unfolded before Enya's eyes. At its center, a face began to emerge.
分析。
Instinctively, Enya clenches her fist. Inside the light vortex, Yujita's face twists in agony, large beads of sweat rolling down his forehead.
彼の声が聞こえるはずだ。あなたを助けるために自ら苦痛の中に身を投じたんだ。彼はタイタンに返された者たちのために悲しんで。
Oh, who is this person?
人間同士の命を見捨てた者たちに怒りを覚えて。
I think they are familiar faces, but I probably forgot.
助けてやれなかった一人一人を思い出している。
Yep, those are probably familiar faces, but then forgotten people that I don't remember. That's all.
人は生きていれば必ず影を引きずっている。確かに彼は強い心を持つ特
特別な存在だ。普通の人間なら我々の意識を吸収どころか触れるだけで耐えられなかったのだろう。欲しいがここまでだ。これほどの苦しみにとらわれた彼を助けられる人間はどこにもいない。
The voice trailed off, and the next moment, Enya stepped forward resolutely, reaching towards the light vortex that held Yutita's tormented face.
苦しみなら私にも見せてください。
The moment her hand moved closer, a small flame ignited her eyes before her eyes, making her instinctively step back. But instead of consuming her, the fire flickered and expanded, slowly bathing the surrounding in its glow. When she opened her eyes again, she was home. January 19th, 2048. Today was a special day for the little girl. She had finished her homework from the AI tutor ahead of time and immediately ran into the kitchen. Though only 7 years old, she was already quite skilled at making desserts, standing on the small stool. She definitely mixed eggs, flour on the countertop, carefully pouring the batter into the cake mold. She placed it in the oven and began prepping the cream and fruit while waiting. By the time evening arrived, a perfectly decorated strawberry cake sat proudly on the dinner table. She snuck candles into the cake. Seeing that it was already 9 p.m. on the terminal display, she let out a small sigh of relief. Right on time, as expected, the familiar sound of footsteps echoed from the outside of the door.
お母さん
I knew it. We probably all knew, but it's probably bad to say it. I knew it. The girl quickly jumped off the chair and ran towards the door. Just as she reached for the knob, it swung open from the outside. A woman in the white coat lab stood there, looking exhausted, but the moment she saw the girl, her face lit up with a warm smile.
エイヤ
The woman scooped Enya into her arms, nuzzling her cheeks affectionately. Only when Enya began giggling from the ticklish sensation did she finally set her down.
今日もちゃんといい子にしてた？宿題を終わらせたし、自分でなんでもないよ。お母さんは？お母さんも頑張ったよ。手術は3件もしたし、それに後で。
She paused for a moment, hesitating. She paused for a moment, hesitating. But when she saw Enya's unexpected eyes, she continued.
エンヤ、お母さん、イエロ社に行かなきゃいけないの。今日行くの？そうよ。そこですごく嫌なことが起きてるから、みんなを助けに行かなきゃ。そっか。お母さん、医師団だもんね。
What does that mean? Doctor Beyond Burgers?
教会なき医師団よ。
Oh, mispronunciation. Okay, got it. Enya nodded, still not fully understanding, but she knew that every time her mom came home, she had new stories about helping people in need.
さあ、これから荷物をまとめなきゃいけないから。お母さん、待って。
Suddenly remembering something, little Enya quickly ran back to the dinner table and hid the cake in the fridge. She decided to celebrate her birthday after her mother came back from the Ibras. She didn't want to distract her before she left. And with that thought, for the first time, Enya learned how to set aside her own desires. When her mom finished packing and was ready to leave with her suitcase, Enya, as always, walked her to the door. The door closed gently, and the sound of footsteps gradually faded. Too thoughtful for her age, Anya lowered her head in silence, crawling up in the floor, facing the door. But just then, the footsteps had just vanished, suddenly returned. Before Anya could wipe the tears from her face, the door swung open again.
あら、お母さんが行っちゃうのが嫌なの？
The woman lovingly scooped Anya into her arms, led her back inside. Then, as if performing a magic trick, she pulled a giant stuffed bear from the wardrobe.
私ったらお誕生日プレゼントを用意したのに、エンヤに渡すのを忘れちゃってたわ。
お母さん、私の誕生日覚えてたの？
The tears has been holding back bursts forward, and at last the little girl dropped off without pretense, sobbing into her mother's embrace.
お母さんは何があってもエンヤの誕生日を忘れたりしないよ。それにきっといつかエンヤは自分の誕生日と趣味を覚えててくれる大事な人と出会うわ。
My apologies for the distraction for some reason. I don't know what's happening with him, but try to ignore that. The scene of past memories froze. Little Anya stood before the birthday cake, now placed back on the dinner table. The flickering candlelights cast a soft, warm glow.
そう。私は子供の頃から優しさと愛に包まれて育ちました。
ヘイムダルの隊員たちと世の中のいろんな人々に比べて私は苦労を知らずに育った恵まれた側の人間でしょう。だから私たちは不幸な人々を助けないと、守らないと、そうお母さんが教えてくれました。その教えを守りながら私は今まで戦ってきました。
In the blink of an eye, Anya felt conscious, yanking away, and suddenly gone back underground. But the light vortex, the one had shown Yuji the image, was gone.
私、これって成功したの？
どうしてだ。我々に触れたというのになぜ苦しんでいない。
なぜそんなことを聞くか知りませんけど。
I don't know what's going on, but it's getting really annoying.
私にだって嫌だったり悲しかったり苦しかった思い出があるんです。昔分析員を失ってしまいそうになったあの時、そんな思い出があるからこそ私はみんなをしっかり守らなくちゃ。私はあなたたちの経験した苦しみを味わったこともないし、代わりに誰かを許す立場にもありません。ただ人をここに閉じ込めてては何も解決しないのは明白です。そんなんじゃ守ったことにはなりませんから。
In an instant, the cavern walls burst apart, letting shards of rocks, flying at beams of light, piercing through the darkness.
まだわからないのか。彼を救ったとしてもあなたはもうここから出られない。
本当にそうでしょうか。
Upon hearing this, Anya's gaze remained steadily unwavering.
分析員のことはあなたたちよりずっと知っていますし、絶対信じています。見ていてください。必ず来てくれますから。
The consciousness of Zone 16 felt silent, but the next moment, a relentless barrage of debris cracking with energy came surging towards Anya. Her exosuit activated instantly, unleashing a violent storm in response. A battle of wind against storm erupts in the heart of Zone 16. At the same time, I open my eyes. Right in front of me stood a figure of a giraffe head. Had I not grown used to Lizzie's habits of surprise appearances, I might have thought I was still dreaming. At that moment, I found myself standing face to face with her, perfectly still on the side of the street. My limbs felt stiff, as though I had been holding this position for far too long. Sketchbook in hand, Lizzie was completely absorbed in her artistic creation, using me as a model. As for where she got the sketchbook and pencil, I had no idea. I glanced at the page and to my surprise, it actually looks pretty good.
もう少しの間じっとしてて、すぐ書き終わるから。それにしても立ったまま寝るなんて分析員さん、私よりもキリンっぽいね。あ、でもキリンでもたまには横になって寝るんだよ。例えば
Lizzie, jokes did nothing to ease my attention. It felt like I just woken from my long dream, but I couldn't recall a single detail. Flames, sacrifice, death. These vague memories still haunted me, but for some reason my heart felt shielded, protected from the weight of those emotions. Thankfully, my memories were impaired. I still remember how, before I blacked out, I have absorbed an energy blast to protect Anya. Where could she be? Lizzie, where are we?
いい質問だね。あなたと私が出会ったことを一本の線に定義するなら、ここは原点と言うべきかな。
She meant we were back at the vending machine. Have you seen Anya?
もう一人なら30分前くらいにここを通ったよ。エリアの半分を消去したって伝言を頼まれたんだ。
Lizzie's words put me at ease. It seems Marie has heard my instructions and was carrying them out smoothly.
ねえ、あの二人のことは聞くのに、私のこと全然聞かないじゃない。戦闘能力のあるあなたたちと違って、私は一般人の女の子だよ。あれだけの化け物から逃げるだけでも骨が折れそうなんだから。
Come on, you practically made Zone 16 your home now. Is there really anything here that could hurt you? I raised my head and looked towards the center of the city. Shrouded in a thick fog, the entire city felt eerie quiet. I frowned, then suddenly reached out, pulled Lizzie's giraffe's head mask off and put it on myself. Instinctively, the fog around me vanished and the silence shattered. Explosions and tremor roared to life, echoing from the city center. Just as I expected, Anya was still there. I turned and tossed the head mask back to Lizzie and started towards the city center. But before I could take another step, Lizzie suddenly grabbed my arm.
中は危険だよ。
Her tone was no longer playful, but uncharacteristically calm.
感じたんだ。エリア16中のミームが中心エリアに吸い寄せられたのを。状況は今までと全く違うんだ。ミームエリア16と本当のエリア16が影響し合っていて、うっかり入ったら出られなくなっちゃう。どうしても行くんだったら被り物をかぶって、方向もわからない人には誰も助けられないでしょ。
This is the real you, isn't it? I pick up the soda that had rolled to the side and place it onto Lizzie's hand. Still had what the fuck? Still had on my arms. Now I'll read it again. I picked up the soda that had rolled to the side and placed it onto the hand Lizzie still had on my arm. Thanks for the heads up. But actually, not wearing the head mask is exactly how I feel the way ahead. Just as you said, the memetic world is merging with reality. The person I'm looking for is the intersection, and she's likely the cause of it. To find her, I need to see both worlds at once, not just one or the other. And I want to share a little meme with you. It's a saying from Pelosia.
へえ、なんなの？
Hate whispers to the warrior, you can't withstand the storm. And the warrior whispered back, I am the storm that is approaching. Okay. Oh. Another story. Okay, sure, why not? 2 more gameplay, and then everything else is just dialogue. Got it. Heart of Crystal. That's my Enya. As I reached the city's center, even the thick fog couldn't hide the chaos. No, chaos didn't even begin to describe it. It was as if the entire world was tearing itself apart. Buildings lay snapping in half. Their shattering remains sprawl across the streets. All were paused and rolled away. As a been spared either reduced to a labyrinth of craters and gaping void. As I moved forward, things were only growing stranger. The city continued to crumble before my eyes, building collapsing without warning, yet I couldn't see what was attacking them. It was as if an unseen force from lower dimension was striking down, splitting them open. The destruction significantly slowed me down, forcing me to weave through falling debris and shifting rumble to find a path forward. The only silver lining was that for some reason, these mysterious attacks seems to avoid me, whether that was a good news or something far more concerning. I wasn't sure. More than once, I was standing at the exact spot at the building. It was only hit, yet the impact miraculously missed me. Instead of dodging unseen attacks, I only had to deal with the aftermath of their destruction. On the other hand, I was almost certain these attacks on the city had something to do with Enya. I had no choice but to quicken my pace. I activated a layer of Taitogen's armor to shield myself from extensive harm as I navigated the collapsing buildings. I had no sense of time, but when I finally reached the city center, everything had changed. While the fog has lifted, the city center, once surrounded by towering structures, was now an immense opening expansion encircled by the wreckage of countless falling buildings. The skyline has vanished. The craters has moved over, leaving behind a vast gray-white surface, a perfect ring-shaped field. I stood atop of the ruins at the perimeter, feeling the tremors beneath me, sensing the force radiating from the center. It pulsed like a heartbeat, sending steadily waves onward, each one rippling through the ground with violent intensity. I could see it now. This massive ring-shaped field must have carved into existence by the relentless rhyme of this energy. Finally, at its heart, I saw it, the only structure left behind. It was a small wooden cabin, the one I have seen not long ago. Without hesitation, I charged straight towards it. Beyond the circle, buildings continued to collapse, struck by unseen force, each impact ringing out in the deafening echoes. But inside that circle, where I stood, I felt nothing. No force, no resistance, almost as if whatever was caused by the destruction has no intention of slowing me down. I quickened my pace, thinking with the rhymes of the rippling energy. For a fleeting moment, a blurry figure appeared in the opening space. The instant I saw her, I charged forward. At that moment, the two overlapping words were separate only a thin line, and I had already reached it. Everything around me shifted. The thick, unyielding fog rose higher, twisting into dark, heavy storm clouds that began to drizzling over the city. The ruins that has crumbled into dust resembles towering back into the sky, blocking out the light. The only part of the space that remains open was the spot where I stood, though now it was far smaller than before. But none of that matters, because standing just ahead of me was my Enya. Before I could even process the situation, my body moved on instants. I lunged forward in a time to block an energy blast hurling straight towards Enya. The explosion knocked me back a step, but my Taijin's armor absorbs the impact, leaving me unharmed. Looks like I made it in time. I turned and gave Enya a smile.
分析
Before the surprise on her face began to fade, the tension of her body immediately eased. Enya, I'd love to hug you right now, but... I reached out mid-sentence, deflecting another incoming attack. Given the circumstances, I think we have to wait a little longer.
もうこんな時でもカッコつけるんですか
Her lips curled into a smile as she whipped the sweat from her cheeks, tucking a stray strand of her hair behind her ear, and stepped quickly to my side.
よかった分析員が無事で本当によかった
Her voice trembled slightly. She was trying hard to hold back her emotions. Yeah, I'm fine. Well, what happened on your end?
簡単にまとめると分析員が必ず来てくれるってあの意識体と話したら全く信じてもらえなくてちょっと
Oh, fuck. Crap. No, that's not it. I skip over the dialogue. I screwed up. She said it with a touch of pride, and it seems she hadn't been hurt by its attacks. Following Enya's gaze, I spot a blurry figure in the distance. A stream of devastating energy radiating from it. Undoubtedly the source of the destruction. I keep on messing up way too much.
あの意識体自分がエリア16の意識だって言いました
So, when I absorbed that light vortex, the image I saw in the city's destructions, those were from their memories.
ええそうなりますね意識体の中には悲しみと苦しみの情報ばかり入っていましたここで起きている異変もそれらの情報によるもののようですつまり理事の言っていたニーム集合体に該当しますね
As I proceed, Enya's words, the pieces started to click. In the end, Zone 16 could have developed a collective consciousness on its own. My earlier guess must have been right.
推測
About the mastermind, someone is clearly behind all this. They merged the fragments Taijins within Zone 16, turning the city into something like a tree, capable of constantly absorbing nearby consciousness.
それってこれはエッタの仕業なのでしょうか
No, it's more like they're imitating Edda. Besides, Zone 16 was a former containment zone under military control. No ordinary person could enter it. This doesn't align with Edda's objective. At this point, a vague understanding began to take shape in my mind, almost as if responding to our conversation. The attacks from the consciousness of Zone 16 gradually ceased. Enya and I immediately stepped forward, closing the distance to about 10 meters from the figure. We talk. I met that being gaze, my expression calm. It remained silent, but something in an instant told me it had acknowledged my request. I'd like to know, what are you trying to achieve here?
解き放つためだ。
Three simple words appeared before my eyes, yet each carried the weight of 1,000 tons.
意識が存在することには苦痛が伴う。我々は意識が誕生した時から街中の同類を飲み込み続けてきた。そして苦しみや悲しみだけが積み重なった。そんな普通の中で長いこともがき続けてきた。いくらもがいていても終わりが見えなかった。
She's talked so slow that I don't even know when she's gonna be finished.
だからせめてあなたたちを運命から解放させてやりたい。
It reminds me of Edda again. Whether through absorption by the tree or by being consumed by the collective consciousness, they both seem to believe that this was the path of humanity's so-called salvation.
確かに意識の存在は痛みや苦しみを伴うかもしれませんけど、そこから愛と希望も生まれます。違いますか？
我々にとって街が滅んだ日から残るのは苦しみしかない。でもどうやらあなたたちは違うようだ。
I felt the being gaze shift towards me.
我々の苦しみに触れ吸収したのに意識崩壊しなかった。あなたは誰よりも強かった。もう一人に関してはまだわからない。なぜ苦しみに触れたのに影響を受けなかったのか。
I didn't skip the dialogue, but I skipped one of their voice lines that they were supposed to speak. This is why she speaks so slow. I hesitated, I screwed up, but at the same time, that was really bad. I glanced at Enya. She shook her head bashfully.
分析員が苦しんでいる姿を見せられたので、そのエネルギーに触れてみただけです。それ以外は特に何も。
I see. It was you who protected my consciousness, helping me break free. I smiled in relief and turned my gaze back to the figure in the distance. The reason is simple. That's just who Enya is. She's deeply attuned to people's feelings. Always caring, always passionate. She spares no effort in protecting the innocent. Yet shows no mercy to those who do harm. She's special. Someone with no shadows in her heart.
影が ない。
I reached out, gently brushed my hand against Enya's cheeks. At my words, a soft brush bloomed across her face. Before I met Enya, I didn't believe it either. But if there was people in this world consumed by pure evil, then surely there must also be those who are purely good, untouched by darkness. And Enya is a living proof of that.
分析員、今は
Enya tried to speak, but her voice caught in her throat. I tightened my grip on her hand, letting her know she didn't have to hold back. I want you to know, there is no way to truly free you from this pain. I watched as the consciousness of Zone 16 wavered. A humanoid form dissolved into a swirling mass of light.
ありがとう。もっと早く出会えたらこんなことにならずに済んだのかもしれない。しかしもう遅い。今や戦う以外の道は残されていない。
The energy within the light vortex surges, illuminating the sky with a near blinding radiance. At the same time, the rest of the city dimmed. The building lost their color, and the rhythmic patterns of raindrops grew muffled. Every fragment of information in Zone 16 was converging, flowing into the collective consciousness. Though we were still 10 meters away, I could already feel the thick air around them, heavy with gloom and despair. In the next moment, the energy coheres into form, and the thousands of cane materialize around us, slowly, relentlessly closing in. Enya and I exchanged a glance, and we could see the hesitation in each other's eyes. Fighting them wasn't the problem. What weighed on us was the knowledge that each of these monsters held consciousness of a person who lived in Zone 16. If we struck them down, the collective consciousness would release energy to revive them over and over again. Simply attacking them won't end this. It will only prolong their suffering. As I deliberated, Enya has already created a wind barrier, separating us from the encroaching horde, yet they keep pressing forward, hurling themselves against it with relentless force. After several more impacts, Enya was visibly drained. I stepped forward, bracing her shoulders and gave her a reassuring nod.
分析員、何か手を思いついたんですか？
Yeah, I think we need to do what we did before. Remember? Back then, when we altered the contents of the memes. Even this situation is the only way to ease their pain.
でもそれだと、あの時みたいにまた分析員にエネルギーを吸収させることに。
That might be difficult before, but now. I raised my hand, pointing it at one of the changed. I just got a little hiccup, by the way. Their consciousness is no longer bound as a single collective mind. It's fragments, scattered among individual bodies. If I absorbed them one by one, I should be able to handle it. Enya looked at me. Her lips parted slightly, but no words came out. After a moment of hesitation, she finally lifted her gaze.
わかりました。分析員がそう決めたのなら。ごめんなさい。バリアを張ること以外何もできなくて。
No, I also need you to do something else.
でも、何をすれば？
Make me your presence. While I absorb this pain and despair, remind me that love and hope are still with me. I gently brushed a strand of hair from her face and placed a soft kiss on her forehead. In response, she rose a tiptoe and kissed me in return. While our eyes met, I saw a spark of determination.
今までずっと自分には特別な力がないと思っていました。一度見たものを覚えることもできなければ瞬間移動したりもできない。情報体を操って幻を見せることもできないし、戦闘も得意とは言えません。私に唯一誰にも負けないものがあるとしたら、それはきっと分析員への愛だと思います。でもさっきエンヤはエンヤだと分析員が教えてくれましたから、やっと私にも自分にしかできないことがありました。教えてくれてありがとう。だから任せてください。分析員は安心して彼らを助けてあげてください。ずっと分析員のそばにいますから。
She wrapped her arms around me, pressing close to my chest, and I felt our hearts beating in sync. At the same time, I extended my hand beyond the wind barrier. In an instant, peers of consciousness of Zone 16 surges into my mind one after another. I think there should be an imagery of Usaki extending his hand while Enya putting up the barrier at the same time. I saw a mother shielding her child with her own body, a girl one step too late to escape, a soldier gravely wounded after venturing into the heart of the city to rescue civilians. Tens of thousands of voices cried out at the same agonizing scream, trapping in the final moments of their lives. All they knew was despair. In reality, their fate has long been sealed, but here, I could offer them a glimmering of hope. Oh, this is pretty cool. Hey, we saw you before! In this city engulfed in a hellish devastation and anguished cries, I moved from one lost corner to another, reaching out as many suffering souls as I could. Some only needed a smallest spark to reignite their hopes. Others were barely clinging to the remnants of their will to exist. With each attempt, the wails grew louder, pressing against my mind, draining every last ounce of strength I had left. But no matter how many times I faltered, when I looked back, I always saw Enya. Like a pale moon in the endless nights, she remained by my side, easing my pain. I knew she was waiting for my safe return. Finally, the last consciousness faded, leaving behind only a shattered, desolated city. Zone 16. What do you wish to become now? That was the last thought of my mind before I closed my eyes and let myself fall back. After what felt like an eternity in darkness, I heard a familiar sound of breathing. My eyes shot open. I turned my head. The devastation was gone. It's in place, a vast meadow stretches before me, wildflowers of every color swaying gently in the breeze. And there's just inches away, Enya lays peacefully asleep. Enya.
分析員。
I gently stroked Enya's hair, rousing her from slumber. How are you feeling? You must be exhausted after holding the wind barrier for so long.
私なら大丈夫ですよ。でも ここって。
It looks like this is the final remnants of Zone 16, collective consciousness. Just like in ancient legends, even in a box filled with disaster, sickness, and pain, hope lingers at the bottom. Nearby, I sense the faint presence of lingering consciousness, no longer whole, no longer belong to anyone, just fragrance of sorrow drifting on the wind. Alright, Enya, let's finish this. Not a boss fight yet.
分析員のそばにいる限り現実を忘れたりはしません。悲しみも恐れも痛みも全て終わらせる時が来たのです。
Okay, I must...
悲しみを消して恐れを払って痛みを分かち合う本当の守るというのはこういうことです。お休みしましょう。
I messed up that dodge before. Wait, where are they shooting? Oh! Oh no, don't do that. The hell are you? Can you stop hitting the crystal, please?
邪魔させませんか。
I don't know what's the...
さあ勇気を出して。
I don't know what the protecting crystal is used for,
こんなことはさせたかったんですが。
but... Okay, sure. Oh, there's more. Okay.
This 綺麗ですね。希望にあふれる道からどこまでも伸びていくんです。こんなことは避けたかったんですが。
Oh, interesting. Okay. Okay. Wait. Ah, okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. I was like... This feels interesting. This destination feels much better as it goes from the distance. Wait, is that a new enemy? I've never seen this enemy before. Hold on. Take this. Oh, that didn't kill you. Okay, sure. There you go. Proposal of truth. an invitation from a monster. With Enya's final blow, the last enemy dissolved into specks of light, scattering across the meadow. The world around us fell into a deep, tranquil silence. In the stillness, we could hear the flap of white birds soaring through the sky, the gentle ripples of fish swimming across the lake, and the whisper of a soft breeze rustling through the grass. Anya and I stood side by side for a long time, unwillingly to break this serenity.
悲しみも恐れも、そして痛みも、すべて消せましたね。
The warmth of the golden sunlight, tears glistened on her face, reflecting soft, iridescent hues.
私たち、本当に成功しました。
I was about to skip that, but she was still speaking, so I wasn't sure.
これであの苦しんでいた人たちもきっと救われたでしょう。
Definitely. In this space, I could no longer sense any consciousness except for Enya's. Just then, a faint glow like a firefly drifted down before me. I reached out, and it landed gently in my palm, merging into my skin. MEMES. That's how I thought it would pronounce it. I watch Overlord, that's why. The demiurge. Is that what you call it, demiurge? I heard they call it MEMES. That's why. I thought you were supposed to say a sentence. Why did you just say all? Anya looked at me in surprise. I could imagine that my own expression wasn't exactly calm. In that last trace of information, I sensed the energy of demiurge. That explains a lot. It all makes sense now. After all this, I guess it's time to see what they've been planning.
わかりました。行きましょう。現実世界のエリア16も救わないと。マリアンちゃんだって分析員のことを心配しているでしょうから。
I nodded, pulling Anya into my arms, feeling the warmth of her breath against my skin. The girl in my embrace was so warm. As I leaned in closer, I caught the soft melody she was humming. It was the same song she used to hum to me every night in the memories of the cabin. The moment my feet touched the ground, I felt a marine rush towards me.
本当によかった。ご無事で。
Like her, I felt the relief and joy of our reunion, but the uneasy atmosphere pressing around us forced me to push those feelings aside. Yeah, I'm perfectly fine. How about you? I quickly scanned my surroundings. Something felt off. This place didn't seem like part of Zone 16. It looks more like a wilderness from the illusion we had just experienced. Had I fallen into another illusion? Just like last time. I instinctively tensed, but the next moment, a sudden flash of white light flickered behind me. I turned. Lizzie stood there holding a small instant camera, snapping a rapid fire of the view ahead, even if she noticed. What are you doing? What are you doing?
安心して。ここは現実だよ。
I had asked what she was doing, while Lizzie answered the real questions on my mind.
This 被り物がある限り、私はミームの世界に現れないから。それに。
Finally, she lowered the camera and pointed into the distance.
ほら、あそこを見て。あなたの隊員は、あなたが探したい人を見つけたよ。
Even before she pointed it out, I had already seen it. In the center of the clearing ahead, a blurry figure stood.
分析員さんのおっしゃった通り、消去法を使って探し当てました。
Maureen looked at me unexpectedly, her eyes aligned with excitement and triumph.
この町では森の公園だけがミームの影響を受けていません。ですが、どうして黒幕はミームの影響を受けなかった場所にいるんでしょう。
This is all thanks to you, Anya. We tried using the memes to find a way out of the city. Our logic has been sound, but we somehow ended up in the city's center. That means the issue wasn't with our approach, but with the memes themselves. Instead of spreading outward as expected, they've been drawn inward to a single point. Since some memes in Zone 16 transmit information, it only makes sense that something else does the opposite. At least, that's my theory. I mean, if left unchecked, the memes would spread uncontrollably, but here, they seem to securely contain within specific area in Zone 16. It's like there's a black hole in this city, holding in all the memes. Lizzie, you must have noticed a long time ago, right? I grabbed one of the instant photos from the stack in Lizzie's hand. Sure enough, the image that should have shown the clearer ahead was nothing but a blur. Unlike the memes that spread information, there's a force here that prevents it from being recorded.
おお、名推理だね、分析員さん。
Ignoring Lizzie's over-the-top compliment, I turned to Maureen. Have you approached the target yet?
はい。ですが、その周りに奇妙なバリアが存在していて、銃弾ですら弾き飛ばされてしまいます。
Frustration was clear in her voice. I offer a reassuring smile. It's fine. Let's go take another look. We approach, and just as Maureen had described, a blade-like barrier flared to life about 50 meters from the figure, sealing off the space ahead. The moment I reached out to test the barrier, it suddenly parted, like the curtains of a stage, revealing a path forward. As expected, I'm their target. I had a feeling this was coming. From the start, everything in Zone 16 has reeked of conspiracy, one that felt tailored, made for me. As the barrier faded, the figure standing in the flower field slowly came into view. Face was as delicate and flawless as spine proclaimed, framed by elegant altar. Yet, there was a melancholy in her expression, like a young lady prepared for a ball in her own manner, lost in wistful contemplation. But upon closer inspection, something about her felt inhumane. Most notably, the nearly transparent wings extended from her back. She stood in the center of the flower field, silent yet radiant in a fragile, almost ethereal beauty.
こんにちは、分析員さん。
As I stepped closer, she lifted the hem of her dress and executed her elaborate theatrical courtesy.
ようこそ。約束通りお越しくださいましたね。私のことはシジョーシャン・モルペウスとお呼びください。
Emugus Morpheus. Her voice had an enchanting allure, reaching my ears effortlessly despite the distance between us. Answering your invitation, I don't recall receiving one.
あのハンナという兵士が招待状の代わりです。ここに入ってきたから仕方なく意識体にみんなを吸収させていたんですが、あなたに知らせてほしいと司令からの命令があったので一人だけ逃がしました。
Sharp throb pulsed through my temples. It sounds like you weren't particularly eager to absorb those soldiers.
その通りです。
I think I skipped a line. I just realized. Oh well.
人間のエネルギーはあまりにも弱いのでわざわざ殺したりしません。
Her tone carried an odd sense of grievance, as if my question was entirely unnecessary. So, your true target is the consciousness of Zone 16. You merge all the consciousness in this city, forcing them to devour one another until they became a singular, sorrowful, despairing collective.
こうすれば一気に吸収できるので効率がいいのです。
Felt Anya grip tighten around her weapon.
人の苦しみを何だと思っているのですか。
Morpheus remained unmoved by Anya's outburst, her expression unchanged.
その苦しみとやらを正直感じ取れません。これはただの仕事です。指令の誘いをあなたに知らせるという仕事。
If that's the case, then why invite me here?
指令は和解を申し出ました。
For a moment, I thought I had misheard. A reconciliation.
指令の言葉を借りると停戦ですね。人類の言い方ですと和解の方が合理的だと思います。
なぜだ？
理由は存じ上げませんが、ここまで来たらおのずとわかると司令がおっしゃっていました。
何を言うと思えば妙なことを。
Anya's fingers instinctively found its way to the trigger, but I had already anticipated Morpheus' response.
エリア16に入った時から私はこういうタイタンをたくさん見たんだ。なのにミームに隠されて外の人に全くバレていないようだ。タイタンが中心エリアに集まっていってあっという間に消えるのを見たんだ。エネルギーが消えていくことすら感じ取れなかったよ。
人間のエネルギーはあまりにも弱いのでわざわざ殺したりしません。
Titans. As I spoke, I grabbed Anya's arms, gesturing for her to look around. These titans remain on the ground. Did you do this all by yourself? Morpheus tilted her head slightly, as if she didn't fully grasp my question. What I mean is, did you absorb the energy of these titans?
ああ、はい。
He nodded calmly.
あの意識体が放出するものはタイタンを引き寄せます。それでここに集めてすべて食べちゃいました。
そん なことができるわけ。
Honestly, I couldn't hardly believe it either, even though I was the one asking the question. The mimetic anomalies in Zone 16 weren't meant to conceal anything. They were meant to lure. In honest words, this place has been becoming a Titan hunting ground, and Morpheus, the being of standing before me, was a demiurge with the incredible power to devour them. So this was Rosin's bargaining chip. He wanted to show me that one of the demiurges, perhaps more, had the ability to draw in and eliminate Titans. Whether I agreed to her so-called truce or not, they would move across the containment zone, quietly absorbing the Titans. The Titan crisis would gradually subside, but the power within those Titans would be transferring to demiurges instead. This was unmistakably Rosin's style, a proposal on the surface, but in reality, she was cornered me into a lesser of the two evils situation. Unfortunately for her, I have no intention of caving to demiurge. I certainly wouldn't play this game by their rules.
分析員さん、
Morpheus' voice snapped me out of my thoughts.
他に聞きたいことがないのならお先に失礼します。
She gave a slight nod, about a courtesy again, but before she said, Marie had already raised her gun. The gunshot rang out, but the bullet pierced Morpheus' right leg, but no blood flowed from the wound.
分析員さんがいいと言うまでどこにも行かせませんよ。
Morpheus widened her eyes, her expression pitifully innocent.
どういうことですか？和解は受け入れられないということでしょうか？
I shook my head. Maybe she truly couldn't comprehend the situation, but there was no universe in which I would ever accept a deal with Rosin. I'll assume you could hear me, Rosin. I look up, speaking into the sky. If you think this kind of trick would intimidate me, you're mistaken. You have your goals. I have mine. Our paths will never align. Did I just rhyme? That's so weird. As if in response to my dreams. No, wait. As if in my response to my words, beam of light suddenly surged around us, converging in the sky to form a massive dream catcher. But this wasn't Rosin's reply. I quickly realized the dreamcatcher was being controlled by Morpheus, the demiurge standing before me.
おそらく私はあなたに勝てないでしょう。ですが、なんとか逃げ切りたいと思います。
In an instant, energy from the dreamcatcher poured into Morpheus, her form twisting, expanding, until she took an unfamiliar shape I have seen before. Very well. Let's see what Demiurge can do after absorbing Titans. With that thought, I charged forward. Here comes the boss fight.
「悲しくて苦しくて全てが色あせていってこれが分析員に見えていた世界」ここに囚われはしません。
綺麗事を並べておいて結局化け物の本性を表しましたね。
行きましょう。 マリアンちゃん、分析員。私は尊い命を踏みにじる者は絶対許しませんから。
ここからはお任せください。傷口に意義を与え、
お姉さんにそろそろ時間ですね。すぐ風が来ますよ。あの世でゆっくり懺悔しててください。
I mistimed that, but it's okay. Wait, I can't move. Oh. Fuck. What was I supposed to do? Okay. Got it. I wasn't paying attention before, that's why. I was like, wait, what the hell has just happened?
ここからはお任せください。あなたのことを悲しんでくれる人はいますか？まだ足りませんね。
My bad for messing up. That was my fault. I was like, I wasn't paying towards the lights. I was like, what the hell was happening? That's why. Although, I guess you're supposed to go around in the circle and then move to the center, but that didn't occur to me. That's why I was looking at something else. Lingered embers. This isn't the end, not even a close one. Among all the enemies I dealt with, Morpheus was undeniably special. On one side, he had absorbed an unfathomable amount of power from the Titans. With this nearly limitless energy, she withstood our relentless attack. On the other hand, he was oddly passive. Despite having the ability to unleash devastating counterattacks, she kept her distance, constantly searching for an escape. But this passive fighting style eventually exposed a weakness. After another relentless barrage, she could no longer sustain her demiurge form. She collapsed to her knees, seizing the moment. I closed the distance, pressing the barrel of my gun against her head.
提案どうしても受け入れられないんですか？
Morpheus clutches her chest, struggling to contain the energy leaking out from her body. Our eyes met, and in them I saw sorrow, as if slightly pleading for my forgiveness.
残念です。あなたは優しい人だと思っていました。
Hold on, let me check something. This looks cool. This looks cool. Alright.
分析員はもちろんこの世で一番優しい人です。
Anya's bullet tore through Morpheus' already battered body, and more energy seeps from the wound like sand slipping through fingers. My tender heart is reserved only for my girls. As for you, you're just as despicable as Rosin Kowalina, not worth even a shed of compassion.
でしたら
Suddenly, Morpheus jerked back, running away from us in a desperate retreat. Above the flower field, the dreamcatcher suddenly began to shift. I could feel the massive surge of energy gathering at its center, like a giant droplet of water hanging precariously above us, ready to drip down at any moment.
分析員さん、あれは
私たちと心中するつもりのようです。
I was yawning. With no time to answer Murray's questions, I pushed off the ground and sprinted after Morpheus. Anya and Murray flanked me immediately, closing in from both sides to cut off her escape. 20 meters. 10. 5. 2. I could see Morpheus' dress flap in the wind, almost within my reach. But I was a step too late. At the last moment, energy from the Dreamcatcher came crashing down, forming a brilliant beam of light that pouring directly into Morpheus' body. Her form twisted and swells uncontrollably. In the blink of an eye, the raging energy erupts in a violent explosion, swallowing everything in the blink of the white light. Using the momentum, I caught Enya to the midway. I can't speak that fast. The explosion sent us hurling through the air several meters, but strangely, it was much weaker than I expected. Wait. Fighting against the force of blast, I struggled to open my eyes, just in shock to see a dark purple shadow retreating in the opposite direction, carrying away by the shockwave. In the end, all that remains was a hollow humanoid shell, spinning within a beam of light, until it burned away to nothing. Okay. This soundtrack. This is from another island where I played with Acacia. I think it's daytime? Maybe it's nighttime. I forgot which. Frustration lost her voice. Deep down, we all knew that against an enemy with no intentions to fight, only to flee, letting her get away wasn't the worst outcome.
でも、あんな技が使えるのなら、なぜ最初から使わず飛びのいたんでしょう。
Before she could finish, my body suddenly wavered, then collapsed into my arms, fast asleep. Her body suddenly wavered. I thought it was my body, my mistake.
無責、これって。
She's fine. Her breathing is steady, probably just exhaustion. What she went through had enough to wear anyone out.
ミームの影響に邪魔されながらモルペウスを見つけるなんて、きっとマリアンちゃんにしかできなかったんでしょうね。
But you also managed to do something that only you could pull off, didn't you?
私は。
She tenderly gazed at me, her eyes filled with warmth.
はい、分析員がそばにいれば何でもできるような気がします。
The evening breeze whispered through the air, settling her hair and the wildflowers around us, swayed in gentle unison. Everything was so peaceful, so idyllic. It felt almost impossible that this was the same place that was just witnessed a fierce battle. The sky, painted in hue of sunset, casting a golden glow over Enya as she gazed into the distance. I think I figured out the answer to Marine's question.
モルペウスが最後になるまであの網を使わなかった理由、何ですか？
I remember the flowers here weren't fully bloomed before. But now, I reached for a nearby wildflower, plucked a single petal, and let it drift away on the breeze. In the breeze, after absorbing the energy, they all bloomed. Turns out she was an eccentric character too.
ねえ、風景を見るのは楽しい？私のこと 完璧に忘れてない？
Oh, so you're still here. That wasn't me messing with her. I honestly assumed that while the three of us were locked in battle with Morpheus, she would take the opportunities to slip away. After all,
理事さん、いくつかお話を聞きたいので会社まで同行してもらいますよ。
一緒に行動したら調査されないって分析員さんがあの自動販売機の前で言ってたのに。
I don't remember making any promises. I simply suggested that we collaborate. So I suggest we share some intel first. After all, collaborating with Yggdrasil definitely sounds a lot better than sneaking around, am I right? So that's why she didn't run when she had the chance. I watched as Lizzie poked at her giraffe's head, deep in thoughts, seamlessly replying our conversation. After a moment, she clenches her fists. Is she gonna be another operative? It would seem so, probably.
ユグドラシルに閉じ込められたら私の論文も修学旅行も調査計画も何もかもが台無しだよ。ひどいよ。
She's probably gonna be a new operative. I can tell. I can tell. Seeing her put in an overly dramatic, pitiful act, I cleared my throat and cut her off before she could ramp up a fake crying any further. I mean, that's a company policy, but I suppose we can make an exception for a special case like this.
本当？
I grabbed my terminal and waved it at her. Give me your contact info. This way you can provide any deposition remotely when we need it. Before I could even finish, Lizzie darted forwards, slamming her terminal, wrapping it in a giraffe-shaped protective case against mine. A pair of synchronized deep confined exchange of our contact IDs.
これでいいよね。
I gave her a nod. We'll escort you out. There are military checkpoints outside.
それはご心配なく。
Mimicking Morpheus, she swooped into the theatrical curtsy before pulling off a sleek, portable drone from behind her. With a flick of her wrist, she unfolded it and sent it hovering into the air.
じゃあね、ヘイムダルの分析員さん。きっとまたすぐに会うだろうけど。
Like I said, there will be a chance. There will be a chance. There was an uncharacteristic slide to her word. But before I could question it, she grabbed onto the drone. With a little jump, she was lifted into the air. Letting out a cheerful woohoo, the mysterious schoolgirl from the Academia Archropolis vanishing from sight.
本当に行かせていいのでしょうか。
She's someone who bypassed the military blockade and successfully entered the containment zone, wearing a head mask that somehow protected her from the MEMES influence and pulling the drone out of nowhere. She has too many secrets. Keeping her around won't get us any real answers. Better to let her go and make her owe us instead.
本当に作りたいのはカシナだけで、もう一人の彼女とかじゃなければいいですけど。
With a hint of jealousy in her voice, she spoke a forehead with a slender finger. I wisely chose not to engage. Either way, the incident in Zone 16 has come to an end. But even then, I had a feeling that this was only the beginning of something much, much bigger.
それで、これからどうするつもりですか？
Rector Tao. In Tao's office, we sat face to face across the desk from each other. Every time that happened in Zone 16 has gone far beyond our expectations. The moment I returned to Yijusel, I sought to Tao to report on Morpheus. First, the military needs to know about Morpheus. I tap on the hologram map displayed on the desk. Instantly, hundreds of glowing points lit up, each marking a containment zone across the continent. He's extremely dangerous. She can devour titans and merge fragments consciousness. Aside from Containment Zone Alpha, Yggdrasil only had direct control over the containment zone within the Hollows region. If Morpheus or any demiurge continues using containment zones to grow stronger, they will eventually become far greater threat than the titans. Especially since right now, they're lurking in the shadows. If this so-called truth Morpheus proposed isn't just a trap, we may not see them for a long time. Of course, I don't intend to accept this ridiculous proposal. That's why we need to align with the military to ensure the demiurge don't get too comfortable with the containment zones beyond our reach.
停戦ですか。
Tao's fingers intertwined, gently rubbing together, as if I have come to realization.
目当てはエッタなのでしょう。
That's the most likely scenario. They probably knew about Enna's plan from the start, which is why they halted their attacks on Heimdall and redirect their focus towards Edda instead.
あの高慢なロザンですらも真っ先に解決すべきだと思うほどですか。
I don't have a clear picture yet, but after removing the Titans in Yibras, there are still 8 remaining across the continent. We need to keep a close watch on them in the near future.
実はあなたがシータの件に対処している間にフィロザー地域のデンドロンが活性化していました。
My eyes widened instinctively, but Tao simply shook her head.
グロの時と似たような状況です。まだヘイムダルに出撃してもらうほどひどくはありませんが、厄介なのはアクロポリス学院があのデンドロンの近くにあることです。よってデンドロン近くの教師や生徒たちの避難に協力する旨の契約をアクロポリス学院と結びました。この大陸には9大エリアと数百個の封鎖エリアや元封鎖エリアがあって、70億以上の人間がタイタンやティーン症候群に悩まされています。すべてをあなた一人に任せるわけにはいきません。
I know. But like I said before, there are some things only I can deal with. And isn't this exactly what the savior of humanity you expect me to become is supposed to do? Al seems to toss a rather sorrowful, aggravated glance at me. A look quite uncharacteristic of her.
いえ、私が言いたいのは、
A sharp knock on the door cut her off. Tao and I exchanged a glance before I gave her a small nod. She deactivated the office security locks.
分析タオさん。
A petite pink blur stumbled into the doorway, struggling to regain balance. The plants in the hallway still weighed slightly. Clear size she had used her turbo exosuit's speed enhancing function to rush here, which was obvious, not a good sign. Come on in, Fridio. He strolled straight into the office, coming to a halt beside me.
タオさん、アクロポリス学院のことなんだけど、校舎移転の契約中止になっちゃうかも。
Like always, seems to work this way. Just moments ago, I hadn't even know about the tree affecting the Academia Aeropolis. And now, I already heard series of developments from 2 different sources. Noticing the change in my expression, Frida seems to realize something. She pulled out her terminal, tapping a few times and dropped a document onto mine.
分析員はまだ状況がわからないよね。このファイルを。
プリティア。
I thought she's gonna say more Ika. For some reason, Tao suddenly interrupted, giving her a slight nod.
アクロポリス学院の方は私と分析員が何とかします。
Rydia tilted her head in confusion, looking at me for confirmation. I met her gaze with a reassuring nod.
わかった。じゃあ学院にそう伝えるね。
She rushed out just as quickly as she has entered. The moment she was gone, Tao finally let out the breath she has been holding.
アクロポリス学院の状況については後で確認して構いません。私の判断だと今回もあなたに出向いてもらわないといけないみたいですが。
I shrugged. The word "I told you so" practically written on my face.
出発する前に。
Tao calmly took the sheet of paper from the stack on her desk and slid it towards mine. To me.
すでに小耳に挟んだかと思いますが、改めて直で伝えなくてはならないことがあります。もう知っているでしょう。私の体はもうこれ以上のテロメア修復手術に耐えられないこと。
She paused, signaling her eyes to me for me to read the document, but I couldn't tear my gaze away from her.
別に遺言を残しているわけではありませんよ。
What are you planning to do?
これからしばらくちょっと過激な治療を受けに行ってきます。いささか冒険的な試みではありますが、座して死を待つよりはマシでしょう。
Pick up the document. My eyes immediately draw to the surgery risk section. The numbers starkly stood out. When's the procedure?
もうじきです。おそらくあなたがフィロゾアにいる間に行われるでしょう。そう睨まないでください。手術の日程はずっと前から決まっています。わざとあなたが不在の日を選んだわけではありません。
Things always seems to pile up like this, overwhelmingly and relentless, leaving me frustrated and helpless.
分析員。
Suddenly, Tao reached out, snatching the document from my hand. Without another word, she crumpled it up and tossed it into the trash bin.
私たちの仕事はまだまだ始まったばかりです。そうでしょ？危機が全て解決されるまで厄介な仕事をあなたに丸投げするつもりはありません。あなたに戦わなければならない敵がいるように、私も自分の目的地を目指さなければなりません。では。
She stood up, inhaling deeply. I think I interrupted her. I'm sorry. This is the second time. I think this is the third time I did this.
終着点でまた会いましょう。
It was deep into the night. After finishing my meeting with Tao, I had returned to my room early. Ever since I began absorbing titrages, my need to sleep has decreased. Still, I like to lie in my bed for long hours each night, replacing sleep with thoughts. It was the sound of the door unlocking. I was a bit curious to hear it. While the manifestations all had access to my room in their request, most had the courtesy to knock, except for the few. The door slid open and shut in a fleeting instant. Just long enough for the hallway light to spill in. Just long enough for me to recognize her silhouette. Before I could finish her name, I was enveloped in warmth, arm wrapped tightly around me. In that haven of fantasy in Zone 16, we had embraced like this, but now her body was no longer cold. If anything, she felt too warm. The scent of her freshly bathed skin lingered in my nose. A faint, intoxicating sweetness. She leaned in slowly, her breath warmed against my ears.
話は聞いてますよ。また出かけないといけないみたいですね。お姉さんと約束して必ず無事に帰ってきてくださいね。
Without waiting for a response, her lips found mine. In the dim glow of my room, only the silhouettes of our entwined figures remained. Our body heat chased away the lingering cold, and with every breath, her desire for me deepened, again and again, until the long night finally faded, and the first light of dawn broke. And that's the end of it. I think I broke about over 3 hours. Still long, but it's shorter than my previous one. Probably because it was a blessing of the events. But still, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Oh, credit to Cheng Lu. Oh, I'm stuck at pronouncing Chinese names. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. My apologies if this video is really long, but a lot of content to put into it. And I hope I could see you guys in the next video. You guys stay safe out there. Take care.